We're good. We're
All
good.
right,
That's
awesome.
nice. That's nice. I won't go any higher than that. Okay, so welcome everyone to our open discussion segment this evening. My guest is, thank you, co producer. My guest is Danielle Browne. How are you,
I'm
Danielle?
fantastic.
Oh
Thank
my,
you so much
it's
for
such a
having me.
pleasure having you here with us this evening in the Linkage Radio studio. Is this your first time here?
This is my first time. I'm
Well,
excited.
hello. It's promises to be a good conversation, and we like that. Alrighty. So my audience, they're very active. They're saying yes, we're good. So also with you is
My campaign manager, Condell Hamilton.
hello, Condell. How you doing? Waving from across the manosphere. Yes, it's a pleasure. So are you ready for us to start talking?
Absolutely.
Of course. Danielle Browne is a dedicated attorney and public servant with deep roots in Mount Vernon, New York, a graduate of Barnard College at Columbia University and the University of Miami School of Law. Danielle has built a career focused on empowering everyday New Yorkers through estate and business planning. As the managing attorney of the Brown Firm PLLC, she has helped individuals and businesses secure their futures with integrity and professionalism. Currently serving as president of the Mount Vernon City Council, Danielle has been a driving force behind legalization, prioritizing transparency, equity, and economic opportunity. Her leadership has shaped policies that serve the community and strengthen its foundation. Now she's stepping forward as a candidate for Mount Vernon City Court judge, aiming to bring fairness, integrity, and a deep understanding of the law and the people it serves to the bench. With a lifelong commitment to justice, she's dedicated to ensuring a legal system that is accessible, equitable, and driven by principles of fairness. That sounds commendable.
Thank you.
Yes. So now that you are in the hot seat, we want to get our conversation going. And the first question I'd like to ask you is what inspired you to run for Mount Vernon City Court judge?
Well, I'm running for city court judge because I deeply care about Mount Vernon. I was raised here in Mount Vernon, and I care about the people who call Mount Vernon home. Mm-hmm. You know, as an attorney and the city council president, I've seen firsthand how the court can impact lives, right? And I think sometimes we can take advantage or take for granted the people who are in our court system. And I believe our community deserves a judge who is not only intelligent, but legally prepared, but also has emotional intelligence, who knows how to be fair, who understands them, who sees them for the people that they are. And I want to bring that kind of leadership to the bench.
Well, thank you so much. Now, can you tell us about your background and how your experiences have prepared you for this role?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I was raised here in Mount Vernon. I went to schools in the Mount Vernon district. I played basketball from Mount Vernon High School all the way through college. I went to Barnard College, played with Columbia University. From there, I went on to the University of Miami for school. Mm-hmm. And I left there. I ended up doing some asbestos litigation, some landlord-tenant litigation, some consumer debt litigation, and I eventually ended up at the WNBA team, Atlanta Dream, mm-hmm. doing some business and legal work with them as well. And after that, I started my law firm, the Browne Firm, helping families with estate planning, business startups, probate, those types of things. Mm-hmm. Absolutely loved it. It's my passion. And became a city council member about 4 years ago. So I'm in my fourth year. Mm-hmm. Been the city council president twice. And I was actually the youngest and the fourth Black woman to do it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm just happy. I have Caribbean parents. My family's from Antigua and St. Thomas. Okay. And, you know, I'm just trying to make my parents proud.
Well, that's commendable. So way to go, Danielle. But the fact that you started the law firm, did you have butterflies or wondering, is this thing gonna work?
Absolutely. I think with entrepreneurship in general, you go from working for someone, which is a steady paycheck, to the ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship. So I was definitely scared. But I read a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I felt comfortable going out on a limb. I had enough confidence in my network that and experience that I had to actually make the firm succeed. So I'm happy that I did it.
Wonderful. And if I may just drop this in here, my husband says, Danielle looks pretty young.
I'm relatively young, right? But looks can be deceiving. my hips and my joints don't think I'm young.
Oh, well. All right. So, I mean, this is a very important role,
absolutely
demanding role that you're vying for. Now, why is judicial temperament so important in our local courts?
I think judicial temperament is everything. A judge has the power to change folks' lives, right? So being able to see and understand what people are saying, to be able to see more than just, the surface level stuff is important. Being able to have someone say something to you and not be offended immediately, or to have different personalities in the court. All attorneys aren't going to present in the court the same way. So the ability to actually see through that and get to the root of everything, I think judicial temperament is important. I think people need to feel heard, feel seen, as I mentioned, and that's all a part of the judicial temperament.
Well, thank you. Now, what are some of the challenges you believe Mount Vernon faces when it comes to access to justice?
Yeah, so I think a lot of folks in Mount Vernon can't afford attorneys. So I think they go to courts. Some people can't afford the attorney and they don't understand the process. In other courts, we have simple, plain language English documents that people can read and understand the process. I think that will help with more access to justice. In addition, we have some people who go before the courts who have mental health issues and are being incarcerated. I think diversionary programs can help those people get the resources that they actually need and the support to fix the root problem.
Yes.
And I also think we have an efficiency problem, right? In Mount Vernon Court, people have to take a whole day off of work to go and fight a ticket, right? And I think that's inconvenient for a lot of people. So I wanted to see if we can bring some virtual hearings for some of the minor cases into the courts.
Oh, and that sounds like a good idea. I know there are challenges in every borough, but I've been coming into Mount Vernon because I'm not a resident, but I've been coming into Mount Vernon since 2004. And I have seen the changes.
Awesome.
I've seen the great things that are happening. And then, of course, the negative things always overrides what's positive. So if you have this desire to see change and you're in the judicial system and you can speak for your people, then I say you go for it.
Thank you.
Because people need defense. Right.
Absolutely. And a better question is, how can we get you to move into Mount Vernon? You've been coming here for so long.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'll talk to Mr. Green.
All right. Sounds good.
But how do you plan to ensure fairness and equity in your courtroom?
I think fairness starts with listening. It's about treating everyone equally, especially in today's climate, without bias, and making sure that the law is applied consistently. I'll ensure that people understand that what's happening in the court, that's really important to me, and I'll take the time needed to make sure that I'm making thoughtful and just decisions. So I think being transparent, being accountable, I think those values will guide me daily on the bench.
Transparency and accountability. I give you those too. But what about you connecting on a regular basis? Do you walk the streets? Do you knock on doors?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned to you, I was raised here in Mount Vernon. I'm involved in many programs. I'm actually on the board of Destination College, which is an organization where we help student athletes from Mount Vernon High School get into college and stay in college. But my niece plays on the basketball team. I go to games. I'm mentoring kids. I'm a part of New Flex has a mentorship program. So I'm always in the community. People see me around all the time, and I think people recognize me from showing up at events, speaking at events as a city council president. So I believe in the community. I believe in, they poured into me, so I always want to pour back into my community.
Them. And I truthfully don't think that the transition will be too challenging for you because you are a resident
Yeah.
and you understand the culture
Right,
of your community,
exactly.
right? Now, how has your time on the city council shaped your approach to public service?
I think being on the council has given me insight from a different perspective. As far as I've written legislation, right? So I know how that legislation is impacting people on a day-to-day basis. It's also given me perspectives from the different community members. I've read hundreds of pieces of legislation and worked through some complex issues on city council. And I think that has made me a better person to be on the bench, right? Because I have that legislator aspect as well as the attorney background, as well as being a community member. So I think all of those things have shaped me into a well-developed, well-rounded individual for the bench.
Right. And as my co-producer says, that we love Mount Vernon, such rich history of the migration of our people from the South.
Yep.
Yes. So, you'll get any rest?
No, is the short answer. And my campaign manager doesn't get any rest either. We're always outside.
You should see him. He looks to the side.
Rest is for, they say you can sleep when you're dead. That's when we're asleep.
Oh, Lord, I love that. But finally, what would you say to voters who are still getting to know you?
I would say this. I lived in Mount Vernon a good portion of my life. I'm not running for this position because it looks good on paper. I'm running because I care. All right. I care about fairness. I care about justice. I care about restoring trust and faith in our institutions. I bring the legal skill. I bring the community knowledge and the heart, quite frankly, to this race. Right. I think. And I think you want a judge that's going to serve you, who's going to understand you, who's going to see you, especially in today's climate. So I think that's what I would want them to know.
Are you tough?
Am I tough? No, I'm understanding, right? I think, right? I'm understanding.
That's
I believe
diplomatic.
That, right. I'm fair. I make sure the law will apply equally to everyone.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by to share your vision.
Thank you for having me.
And, I know these races are very tight and you have to make yourself as visible as possible and people can connect with you, get a chance to stop you and say, but that's Miss Browne over there, and you're receptive.
Absolutely.
To them. So, so tell us when this takes place now.
Absolutely. So the election, the primary Democratic primary date is June 24th of 2025. The polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Also, early voting will start on June 14th and it will go through June 22nd. And you can vote at the Dole Center or at City Hall. Those will be the two locations that will be open for early voting. There'll be different times. But also, if you want a lawn sign, if you want to come out and knock doors with me, any of those things, you can contact us on my website, which is Browne, and Browne has an E at the end of it. It's a special Browne.
I got
right? Browne for Judge. So BROWNE FORJUDGE.com. You can just fill out a contact form. We'll call you. If you want a lawn sign, we'll bring it to you. Just really need the community to really know. And I think sometimes we take for granted our right to vote, and we need to stop doing that, right? We need to make sure our voice is heard.
Absolutely. So to wrap it up, whenever I have a guest, there's a fun segment that I do.
I like fun.
You're so brilliant. You'll just, knock it out of the park.
Let's pray.
So, one word answer only. City Council.
Service.
Okay. Then we have public service.
For the people.
That's not one
word. That's not one word. Jesus. I see why this is fun. Justice.
Justice. Okay. Education.
Important.
Courtroom.
Fair.
Okay. Family.
Love.
Mount Vernon.
Culture.
Wonderful. All right, you did good. You did good. So I just wanted your
campaign manager
to stop by and just say hello to our audience before you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just wrapped up